With the topics of this video, I would like to mention that I am not currently suicidal. I'm just talking about my childhood. And no, this video is not for attention or for sympathy points or anything like that, because if it was, it wouldn't be authentic. Anyways, I first felt suicidal at the age of 11, and there was just a lot going on. I feel like grade 6 was just a really bad year for me, and I feel like my mental health came into fruition when I was 11. So let me put you guys into perspective. So in grade 6, I don't know, I guess I had went through like an edgy phase or whatever, and a rebellious phase, and I just, wasn't like participating in school or stuff like that. Like, I still went to school, but like I didn't go to class or stuff like that. And grade 6 was a really tough year, and it was my first tough year of my life. In that year, I was, rebellious or whatever, but I was also suicidal. Like, I considered suicide. And, people, when they consider suicide at a young age, they're like, I promised myself when I was this years old that I would never, ever commit suicide. And when I was 11, I was like, oh, it could be a possibility, And I just feel like grade 6 was a tough year. And I know, grade 6, it's not even middle school. How is that tough? Well, I lost my only friend that year, and not to suicide or anything like that, but he moved away, and he was like my only best friend. And obviously I had friends, but this was like a best friend. Like, I just spent every single recess, every single lunch just talking to him, walking around the track, like the track, like walking several laps over the course of lunch or recess break. And I was really sad when I lost my first ever best friend, because like I've known him for years at that point. Like, I feel like I first met him in like grade 4 or something like that. I don't know. But anyways, I had a miserable perspective on life. Like, all I could ever wanted, like, at these times was to be strong, So whenever I feel pain, like, mentally or anything like that, I could tough it out. And that's all I've ever wanted. But I guess I was trying to grow too much for my age, Like, I'm not saying I was mature or anything like that. I'm just saying, like, I was sick of being a kid and wanted to grow out of the early years of my life. Like, by the end of elementary school, I was already sick of life, and I just didn't want to be a kid anymore. And yeah, I know it's stupid to be suicidal over something like that. But grade 6 was just like a bad year for me. It wasn't my worst year ever when it comes to school, but it was a pretty bad year. I don't know, I barely had any friends, and I was in classes like a grade lower than me. I think it was like only one class or something like that, just so I could be my best friend before he moved. And I don't know, suicide, like, it just seemed like a possibility for my future. And these days, I'm trying to push that fate as much as I could. Like, I haven't been suicidal in like a week, I'll be honest. I haven't been suicidal in like a week or so. And to me, it's just not possible, Like, I can't even come up with a plan that's possible, you know, and I don't know if I should be saying this on YouTube or not. I hope it's not worrisome, but I think it was just my perspective on life when I was 11. Like, I don't know, like, I tried to be mature and tough and this and that, but I just really wasn't, and it didn't help that it was a lonely year for me. It really was my perspective, though, out of everything, that was a factor into me considering suicide for the first time, because, like, I didn't feel accepted in school or, like, in my family. And, like, I'm not saying, like, school, yeah, it was kind of bad at the time, but my family wasn't. But, like, I was just, like, curious for what I don't know, like, you know, what others think of me. And I guess that was my first ever feeling of, like, spiraling, you know, like, and it makes sense. It also just makes sense that I was suicidal at such a young age, because all of my mental issues are from my dad, and all of his mental issues are from his dad. So a lot of these things are hereditary, and that's what my psychiatrist told me. And, like, obviously I've always been autistic or stuff like that, but I feel like I didn't feel mentally ill until I was 11, you know? Like, and I'm not saying that, like, oh, I feel mentally ill or something like that. Like, obviously I'm mentally ill, but I didn't really feel it until, you know, the last year of elementary school. Do you understand what I'm saying? And, you know, I'm just a kid. He just wants attention. No, it's not that. I just have mental illnesses from my dad and needed counseling. That's all it was. That was like, I turned the page on all that years ago, and I tried to escape from it, but I realized my emotions are valid, you know, no matter what age. And this goes for you too. No matter what age, your emotions are valid and you should be heard. God bless. Have a great day, guys, because that's the end of the video.